this moment, I'll turn it over to Fullerton, which Fullerton is one of our longest running. I'm going to guess that it's been 13 years. I can get corrected on that, of course, but I think it's been about 13 years that they've been doing SI at Fullerton. One of our largest, most fully developed programs in the CSU, and I would say just about anywhere. Massive program, very successful, very mature program as far as having all of the elements you would want for implementing a program, maintaining it, managing it, and assessing it. So they've been a very consistent presence in SI for quite a long time. We recognized Fullerton as a CSU Center of Excellence for SI back in 2013. They've won many awards, and they have a list of those coming up here. Many awards, including through the International Center as Outstanding SI Program back in 2014, and then again back in 2018 at the International Conference. They're one of 2 of our CSU programs that are certified by the International Center, so that's another nice distinction. So at this moment, I will turn it over to Fullerton for Trista, Dr. Mary Lynn Kasem, and Candace, who's one of the senior leaders there.
Great, thank you, Brett, for the nice introduction. You can go ahead and just forward to the next slide. And as Brett said, I'm Trista O'Connell. I'm the Assistant Director of the program here at Fullerton, and I'm joined by Dr. Mary Lynn Kasem, who is one of our SI faculty liaisons and also the Department Chair of Biological Sciences. And then Candace is one of our senior leaders, and she does SI specifically for accounting courses. And Brett, if you can cue the next one. Thank you. So a little background about our program. I know that Brett already went over some of our awards and accolades. Our program began back in 2007, so 12 years, almost 13. We're getting there. It's going by quickly. We began, like many other campus SI programs, as a very small grassroots program. We were started by faculty in the College of Mathematics and Natural Sciences. Thank you. Natural Sciences and Mathematics. And we had basically just a handful of SI leaders in biology math. We also had a parallel program that started back in 2009 in our University Learning Center, where we were targeting a couple of the learning communities for engineering, computer science, and also for the humanities. And then about a year after that, so 2010, we began a partnership with the college, and then also with student affairs at the ULC, and trying to pull ways that we could actually meet the needs of the campus together. And then, as Brett mentioned a minute ago, in fall of 2013, we received baseline funding from the Chancellor's Office in their academic and student success initiatives to centralize and institutionalize the program here at Fullerton. And so what that allowed us to do was to actually hire someone full-time, and that was myself, an SI supervisor, to oversee SI. It also allowed us to hire 6 faculty liaisons, and Mary Lynn will talk a little bit more specifically about that in just a moment, and then also 80 SI leaders. So we went from 4 or 6 SI leaders, and then we gradually grew to about 30 or 40, and then to 80 SI leaders. In 2014, so soon after we received that funding, the students here at Cal State Fullerton recognized SI for its benefits and as a high impact practice. And through the Student Success Initiative, wanted to have additional student fees go towards increasing the number of offerings of SI and bringing it to additional departments and colleges on our campus. And with that additional funding, we were able to essentially double the size of the program, bring aboard 2 additional faculty liaisons, more SI leaders, as well as a full-time administrative support person. In the spring of 2014, as Brett again mentioned a minute ago, we did receive 2 awards that year at the International Conference. And we won the Outstanding Research, and then Dr. Mark Filowitz received the Outstanding Administrator Award for his support of supplemental instruction, and also specifically designating SI space within the College of NSM for us, which was fantastic. In 2015, we were recognized as the Center of Excellence for SI within the CSU system. And then in 2017, we actually did receive program certification through the International Center of SI. And last year, we were awarded the International Center SI Conference Awards for Outstanding Program. And then one of our senior leaders received the Outstanding Mentor Award also that year. Brett, next slide. And now here's a snapshot of our program. We typically on average have anywhere between 115 to 130 SI leaders each semester. The largest we've had is 130, and now we typically tend to stay within the 115, 120 mark. And we're able to provide support, or I should say they are able to provide support to 40 courses across 15 departments and 5 colleges across campus. So the question becomes, okay, how is it you could grow a program so quickly, and then also how is it possible that you can maintain support and help develop the SI leaders with such a large program? And so that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about. The next slide, Brett, if you can forward the next slide, is that we have built in a large net of support for our SI leaders. That's not only within student affairs, but also within the academic departments. And we do have a very strong collaborative effort across the colleges and campus here at Fullerton. Our SI program is housed in student affairs, and it is, even though it did start within the different departments, actually all of the academic support programs here at Fullerton are housed under student affairs in the retention cluster. So even though we are housed in student affairs, we do work very closely with the academic departments. In student affairs, we actually fall within the retention clusters I noted a moment ago. And the executive director for special populations, Dr. Rochelle Woods, who's actually in the image to the left screen in that cluster. She's in that 3 o'clock there. Yeah, 3 o'clock position. And then our SI staff fall under that. So there's myself, and we also have an SI coordinator and an administrative analyst who does all of the hiring and paperwork. Now, with the arrows you can see is this is where the dialogue really takes place. And so not only do we have the student affairs component with the SI staff, but we also have this built-in component of the faculty liaisons. And then they work very closely with SI leaders within their own specific departments. We have our senior leaders as well, and we are always in constant contact with one another. We also, and I didn't add it here to the slide, but we have our implementation team as well, and our implementation meets about every other month here, and it's comprised of our faculty liaisons, our SI support staff, as well as various department chairs, deans, associate deans, and then also our SI senior leaders. And we feel that it's important to involve the senior leaders in that dialogue so that we hear from the voices of everyone here on campus. So it's not just a top down, it's actually across campus, and we're hearing from all the various players to see what needs are there in the various departments, and then with the students as well as administration. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mary Lynn, and she'll speak a little bit more specifically about the faculty liaison component.
So hi, I have been serving, this is my second year as a faculty liaison for the SI program in our Department of Biological Sciences. I started out actually as just one of the instructors for our lower division first semester cell and molecular course, and became involved in SI in that way, and then it just sort of naturally progressed into the liaison's position. So that first bullet point there that you see is that previous involvement. It's really helpful to have a sense of, again, as Julie discussed, what SI is and what it isn't. And that really comes from working directly with our leaders and Trista or equivalent people who are really driving the program. A lot of what my job involves is working directly with a senior leader to guide the work throughout the semester between myself, the needs of our department, the needs of our instructors, and then meeting the needs of our individual SI leaders. A big job also is that recruitment, hiring, and scheduling. Scheduling definitely a big job because you've got to match the times that rooms are available and the individual schedules of each of your SI leaders with their all of their various other academic requirements. So scheduling is always a lot of fun. And I'm a big fan of Google Docs now, just because that seemed to be the magic key for getting all of the scheduling figured out. We meet, my group of biology SI leaders, I have 14 SI leaders I work with in addition to my senior leader. We meet on a weekly basis. My senior leader and I have a separate meeting every week to discuss ongoing concerns, things that might have come up, and then also a planning session for essentially professional development, but also team building activities. So some things are very professional development, very serious kinds of activities, and then other things we have just fun days when we do things. We've had a mosaic making day, and we've had movie night, and we bring our blankets and popcorn, and it's really nice. I'm also an important point of contact between the individual leaders and the faculty that they are associated with. If there's a problem that comes up, I'm the person that's going to facilitate that, either a problem where perhaps a faculty member doesn't understand the limitations of what an SI leader can do, or an SI leader perhaps not following through on their obligations, although that has not happened. So that's an important role, to be the person that can be the go-between between faculty and SI leaders. Another piece of the job that does take quite a bit of time is that multiple observations that occur throughout the semester. So we have supervisor observations, and I'm sure Candace will also talk about the peer observations. But that's, again, really thinking of it as part of that professional development, but it's an opportunity for us to help maintain the quality of our program and help our SI leaders grow over time. There's various other department partners in this, not only faculty, but staff. There's issues in terms of giving access to my leaders, giving them access to a Xerox machine, or making sure the room is open. We have the benefit, again, through a lot of the hard work of Dr. Filowitz, that we do have separate designated SI rooms within our NSM college. So making sure those rooms are maintained and all of the kind of just technology sides of that come up. And then, as Trista mentioned, I'm serving on the SI implementation team and provided my feedback, often and frequent feedback to the program, and trying to overall help SI grow on campus. And allegedly for all of this, I do receive release time, but as a colleague, it never feels like it is, but there is 3 units, of course, release time. So that's a lot of what I do as a faculty liaison. I think we're ready for our next slide.
Hi everyone, my name is Candace. I'm a master's student in accounting here at Cal State Fullerton. I'm happy to represent the SI leaders here at Cal State Fullerton. Like Trista said, there are 100 plus SI leaders on this campus. We separate ourselves into 9 subunits. We call them departments. There's an accounting department, chemistry, biology. Each department has a faculty liaison as well as a senior leader. A senior leader usually has 3 to 5 semesters of experience as an SI leader. This is my 5th semester as an SI leader and my 2nd semester as a senior SI leader. So many of the senior leaders in this picture are super experienced, like really great to work with. I meet them every Friday with Trista, and we talk about what's going on in our departments. Any successes we've seen, any challenges we're facing, any problems that we couldn't resolve at the department level are talked about every Friday among the senior leaders and with Trista and with the SI coordinator. So on top of leading our own SI sessions and attending our weekly department meetings, SI leaders meet weekly. So the job takes about 15 to 20 hours a week as opposed to the 10 hours a week that most SI leaders work. Like Dr. Kaysen said, the senior SI leader and faculty liaison share responsibility for the supervisor observations. So every semester, every other month about, our SI leaders are observed by either the faculty liaison or the senior leader. And after the SI session, the SI leader receives feedback. Here's what you did really well. Here's how we can improve. Like, let's set some goals, that sort of thing. And as an SI leader, I am talking to peers. My SI leaders are my age, they're my friends, they're my classmates. So often during our debriefs, it feels like I'm just giving advice to a friend. It's totally peer-to-peer. My favorite part about being an SI leader is leading the trainings, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Before I go there, I just want to talk briefly about the benefits of being an SI leader. Usually when we talk about SI being a high impact program or high impact practice, we talk about the benefits to students, like the benefits to all the students who are attending SI, and we overlook the effects that this program has on the SI leaders themselves. The senior leaders and I were talking last week about, how constantly reviewing material in our SI sessions really helps us in our upper division classes, our master's classes, our MCAT, our CPA exams, these sort of things. Also, there are so many benefits that are hard to quantify. How do you quantify, like, just the feeling of, the rewarding feeling of students coming up to you and saying, thank you, you helped me pass this class. And this happens semester after semester. I get about 30 students in an SI session, and just being able to help every one of them succeed and become an independent learner has just helped my heart grow in addition to my mind. So I'm so grateful to be a part of this program. About SI leaders, like I said, well, I haven't said this, we follow the UMKC model. So you see all of the responsibilities here. This takes about 10 hours a week for SI leaders. Like I said, SI leaders receive feedback from their faculty liaison and senior SI leader. This helps them grow over time. Can we go to the next slide, please? Pre-semester SI leader training happens before, like a couple weeks before every semester. The first day is for new SI leaders. We introduce the new SI leaders to, the 3 pillars of SI, redirecting questions, wait time, that sort of thing. Day 2 is for all returning and new leaders. So this is a huge day. It's an all-day event, 100 plus people. The senior leaders spend a lot of time picking a theme and dressing up, making playlists for the day, making breakout sessions, that sort of thing. Like it said, we have a theme. So this past semester, we had a Jurassic Park themed, training. So we had John Williams' score playing all day. We dressed up our rooms with greenery and dinosaur footprints and that sort of thing, and we incorporated the theme into our breakout sessions. Our breakout sessions were about, designing activities for different types of learners, conducting peer observations effectively, time management, attributes of a good SI leader. Each breakout session is designed to be sort of like an SI session. So there's an agenda, there are activities that are active and engaging and that sort of thing. Can we go to the next slide, please? Okay, I think this is Trista's.
Oh, okay. As Candace said, our senior leaders play a very integral role in the pre-semester trainings. And so it makes sense, because if SI is to be a peer-to-peer model, then we do that. It's, in our training. So the senior leaders, the SI leaders really get a lot from the trainings because of the senior leaders and what they put into it. We feel it's also very important to celebrate your SI leaders and recognize them, not just at the end of the year, but throughout the year. Our senior leaders actually organize a lot of different activities and outings so that they can continue to bond and boost each other throughout the semester. At the end of the year, in May, we always have our SI Leader Banquet. We have SI leaders who speak. We also recognize each and every one of our SI leaders for their tremendous efforts in the program. And then our graduating SI leaders, we do celebrate them especially and recognize them with an SI Leader graduation sash or stole. Several of our SI leaders also have had the opportunity to present at many local and national conferences. You can see a picture of a couple of our biology SI leaders there with one of their posters. Yeah, and then we've had, again, our SI leaders also not only present, but also co-author papers with several of our faculty members as well. So we do present various opportunities for them to excel. And with that, I guess I'll open it up for any questions if we have time, Brett, for a couple, or not?
We do have a few minutes.
Okay.
Into the transition, absolutely. So San Diego, a few minutes and we'll be over to you, but we do have time for any questions that folks have. As we're waiting for that, I just want to make sure I thank you, Fullerton, for always sharing your expertise, your time in today's session, and Fullerton has really served as somewhat of a shepherd of many of the other campuses who have, just started out with SI in the last few years. They've hosted many of them actually at the Fullerton campus to spend the day going through all of the parts, all the components, all of the roles, doing observations, seeing the setting, and so that's been really useful to enable other campuses to kind of follow your tracks. The SI Leader training, just a reflection there, it's really powerful what these SI leaders go through in a training process and the pedagogical techniques and strategies that they learn. Coming out as an instructor, many of us didn't necessarily learn those techniques and strategies ourselves, but as those SI leaders become very capable in leading those sessions so that they're active learning sessions and they're enabling their peers. So those are just some of the observations.
So I just saw a question about whether it's awkward to do the observation as a faculty member, and I don't feel that that's ever been an issue. I always let my SI leaders know the days that I'm going to come in to observe, and the room is big enough I kind of hide in the corner. So that's always been not an issue.
And our faculty liaisons, if they do happen to be teaching a section that is being supported by SI, they do not observe the SI sessions for that are associated with that particular section. So that's where a senior leader or myself or Chelsea, our SI coordinator, would step in and help out with that observation.
And then want to talk about the pay for senior leaders?
The senior leaders are paid at a higher rate than our SI leaders. They do work, as Candace said, 15 to 20 hours a week, and we do pay them a couple dollars more than the SI leaders.
And another thing, the SI leaders do attend their associated lectures, and so I introduce, when I'm teaching a course that has SI associated, I make a big point of treating them as colleagues. Sometimes I'll engage them in an activity or demonstration. I do student-centered work where I'll ask the SI leaders to go out, because usually I'm working in a fairly large classroom, and they're assisting me during my lecture. They aren't involved in anything to do with grading. That's obviously a big issue. But so the students see that I am treating them as a colleague and as a resource, and then the advertising happens both through my Moodle or whatever your course management system is, and just word of mouth. And in terms of recruiting new students, that happens within each of the SI sessions. Right about now, we're talking to the students, hey, you're doing really well. Looks like you're really being successful. Have you thought about being an SI leader? So that word of mouth promotion occurs, and that's how we get our continued population. And the question about EO 1110, we have not done that yet. I don't know that we would. I think we're responding to student, DFW rates. I don't think we've seen a change yet that is so new. Our math department has done a lot to accommodate the change away from remediation, and I can't speak completely to that, but they have built that in. I don't know that we have additional math sections of
No.
SI though.
No. Any other questions? Our information is listed there too, our website and then our contact information. So you're more than welcome to send us an email, contact us at any time.
And we do not have SI directly linked to labs. We couldn't have SI leaders in the rooms because of the fire marshal rules, but certainly all of these students are students who have succeeded in these courses, and so that if there's a lab related question, they would be capable of answering those things.
Great, thank you for the exchange there. And again, thank you for your session, Fullerton. I'm going to move us forward. We're right on time, everybody. This has been great with all of these segments, timing-wise, and of course, the quality within. Excellent. So I want to go ahead and talk real briefly about our SI community. So this group meets monthly online via Zoom, similar to we are today, except that it's more interactive and we have more sharing from various campuses, giving updates, giving reports, asking for advice related to certain problems they might be facing or things that they want to be able to add on to their program. You can see some of the dates here for the remainder of this year, and we do maintain the recordings and slides from all of those sessions, so if somebody has to miss a session, they can catch up on what took place by reviewing it after the fact. And then we also have our own CSU SI listserv. So I will put into the chat in just a moment the link to the SI community website, which also has the link to the SI listserv if anybody were want to join. It's not a heavily trafficked listserv. I would say there's an average of a posting once or twice a week, so you're not going to be inundated, but it would at least keep you up to date on the pulse of some of the current events that are happening or the discussions that are happening across our own community. Most of our SI coordinators belong to the International Center's SI net, so they kind of get the larger picture, and we see a lot of exchange in that community as well.